Hey everybody, Invisiblekatana here. Today, I would like to discuss my memories with the Wii U. Now I know the Wii U is not beloved. In fact, a lot of people believe the Wii U is getting a little brother in the Switch 2 right now. But I want to talk about my memories with the Wii U because they're pretty good. I like the Wii U. I don't know if I'm gonna do the Punisher thing where hell, I love it. I really liked it. The couple of games that I have on it, I really enjoyed. Had a good time with it. I still hate the fact that they did the marketing that they did. I still don't understand how they thought that initial trailer, for those of you who don't remember, maybe you might be young or you just don't remember the initial trailer for the Wii U. I would like to describe it to you because to this day, I still remember that as one of those just big gaming moments where it's like, we're announcing the Wii U and it's like, okay, let's check this out. What is it? The first reveal trailer for the Wii U, they didn't even focus on what the console looked like. They didn't show what the console actually was. They just showed some pre-rendered stuff like here's the gamepad and you throw some shuriken, which did end up in Nintendo Land. That became an actual thing that you could do. And it was like, okay, what the F is it? Because I think it's a new console because you can see it in the video. And then that was it. It was just like the Wii U. And I was like, I'm sorry, we don't really know what that means. You got a gamepad, and a bunch of people will tell you this. People were confused, was it just the gamepad? I knew it was a new console, but I'm like, okay, it's weird that they didn't even bother showing hey, here's the console. They didn't mention, this was important at the time because the Wii, of course, was still standard definition. The Wii U was the first time Nintendo actually went to full 1080p HD quality. And they didn't focus on that. They didn't mention that. They didn't say hey, here's, like I said, they literally show the console from one direction and it's laying down sideways, and it's just next to the TV, and they kind of just do this little pan across the TV, and it's like, oh, here's some footage, here's a gamepad, and that's it. And I remember that to this day, they didn't show. I get the gamepad idea, and I figured it was a new console. I wasn't worried about that. Is it an addition? Is it a thing? I was like, I figured it was a new console. I think they even say it's the next generation. So I was like, okay, it's a new console. But you don't show the actual console. You don't say hey, here's what it looks like. Here's the image. If you look up a Wii U now, you'll see the image. In fact, you'll probably see the image of the Wii U in black because that became the standard color. Because initially when the Wii U came out, once again, something people might not even remember or think about anymore. But when the Wii U first came out, it was white, just like the Wii. That was the original version of the Wii U. It was white. And then the updated version was not even the updated version. It was just the larger capacity version was the black one. So it was you should probably get the black one because it has more space. And so that's the one that I ended up getting. And when you look at it now, that basically became the standard Wii U was actually in black, which is super funny to think about. I don't think I can even recall any footage of seeing a white Wii U outside of the initial trailer. I'm sure, original commercials, if you look them up when the Wii U was originally coming out, you'll see, of course, the console in white. But when you look up any footage now of the Wii U, they basically stopped doing the white version. It was okay, well, the black version is higher capacity. We're just selling that now. And then the black became the standard color, which I think looks way better. I think it actually looks really good in black. And then the white is just okay, I don't have much reference, but it's I think it looks cooler in black. So already it was off to a bad start. Just from a marketing standpoint, they did not do a good job with that console and explaining to people hey, this is what it is. And a lot of people said this, and I'm sure if you kept up with the recent news for the Switch 2 when it was originally coming out, or right before the announcement, and everybody's well, is it going to be the Super Nintendo Switch and this and that, which still would have been a great name. But a lot of people are it's probably just going to be the Switch 2 because they're not going to want to F up like they did with the Wii U, where it's it's the same name, but it's got a little bonus thing, because there are tons of people, despite, obviously if you're watching this, you're within the gaming sphere. We're the people that hear all this stuff. We're oh, this game's super woke and all that. That's 10% of the people whining on the internet. Most people don't care about that. Look at Assassin's Creed Shadows. Most people don't give an F. It's look, I'm not worried about this. I'm here to see if this game is good. That's most people. If we're being totally honest, most people that buy games are not that hardcore. People don't really care. And then you have the people buying the games for those people who aren't even they're not even a core in gaming. They just purchase the stuff for the person that cares. So those people can be confused. You got the Wii and the Wii U. the Switch. Switch 2. Boom. You put a number 2 by it, everybody's like, 2 is next. 2 is next. It's not an addition, it's the next thing. So there was confusion on that where it was like, what is this for, the general mass media market? And they went the realm of being more for gamers. It wasn't, Wii for everyone like it was before. It was like, hey, we're diving in more with the gamers, 1080p and all that stuff. And when it eventually came out, I picked one up, got it in black, and I had a good time with it. And it started off with, oh man, remember Mii's? You can still make them, by the way, for if you didn't know that. You can still make a Mii on the Switch. I like recently found that. I was like, holy crap, I didn't even know you could do that. Like, I had no idea that was there. Like, they abandoned that after the Wii U, and they were like, we're kind of done with Mii's. Like, they still have Miitopia in the games and stuff, and clearly you can still make them, but it's definitely not like it used to be, where it was, like Mii Plaza, and just the way it used to be, where it was like, you make your own character. It used to kind of be like that in general. We had a bit of a create your own character phase. Even Xbox had it with the Xbox avatars, which I think mine is still my my profile picture is still like my old avatar I made on my 360, because I never had a console after that, so I don't even have an update where I could change it anyway. Not that I'd want to, leave my avatar dude on there. But sadly, the Mii's are still in existence. Obviously, we have Miitopia and like the new game that's coming, or well, I guess it's more of a remaster coming. I can't even remember if it was a remake or remaster, whatever it was. But the new Mii game that was coming out, they got like the fantasy RPG one, which I don't remember what that one's called. That one might be Miitopia, and then the new one is something else. I don't really remember because I don't play those games. I just know the names. But RIP to Mii's in a sense, because you can still do it, just not it's not as relevant as it used to be, sadly. But when the Wii U came out, they had the little camera and stuff, and it was like, hey, you want to make your own Mii? And I was like, of course I do. And you could just take a picture of yourself, and I always wish I recorded that because I was laughing like crazy. Came out a little chubby, I'll be honest. It was kind of like when they did the Wii Fit thing, and like people were like, ooh, show your BMI, and it's like, well, this is my Mii, and it's like, no, this is your Mii, you fat bitch. It's like, it was kind of like that. It was like, ooh, I guess I need to lose weight. That's not the proper angle on my face. Like, my Mii came out a little chubby, and that made me laugh really hard though. But it was fun setting it up and everything. And then Nintendo Land is not as good as Wii Sports, let's be honest. It's not, but it is really fun. They did some really cool stuff with that. Also, some good music is in that as well. But I love the mini games. They have some really great stuff, even multiplayer wise. They have some really cool stuff. The Luigi's Mansion one is like the best one for multiplayer, where you have 4 people play on the TV, and then whoever plays the ghost actually plays on the gamepad, so no one can see the ghost on the TV and stuff. Like, it's actually really fun. So I always loved that one. The F-Zero one was actually pretty fun. I always thought that was entertaining, where it was like, F-Zero is like, you can move really fast in this game. Like, that's cool. It's crazy that they just abandoned that, huh? That's crazy. It's crazy. I know we got F-Zero 99. Hopefully that actually sticks around. I still don't understand the Mario 99 thing, and I think the same for Tetris. I think they took both of those away. Super weird. I really don't understand. They want all this money. I won't even get into it right now, but I just find it odd where they are right now, where we're talking prices and stuff, and it's like, you guys gave up a whole bunch of money when you were like, Mario 99, Tetris 99. Nobody wants that. It's like, everybody was playing that stuff. Super weird. The 3D All-Stars thing did that for a temporary time, which granted now you can actually buy, I think Sunshine is coming to GameCube and stuff like that, but that's Switch stuff. We're talking Wii U right now. Other mistakes, as people might call it. But I enjoyed it, like I said. Going through the process of having the Wii U, setting it up and everything, had a fun time. Then it's like, all right, what games do I play on the Wii U? What do I get for this new console that I have? Of course, Nintendo Land came packed in, which I'm not sure if that actually did come packed in originally. I think because I got mine a little, like I said, I got mine when it was the black version of the console, and I think that was after they like got rid of the white one in general. So I think I got mine like a year or so late, and it was like, okay, Nintendo Land included. That's pretty fun. I really enjoyed it. I think, you know what? I had a double. Yeah, I definitely got mine late because I had 2 games. I had Nintendo Land and I had Super Mario. Super Mario Worlds or 3D Worlds? I can't remember if it was 3D Worlds or just Worlds. Was the Wii U version, but I had that built in too. Never beat that game, but it was really fun. Also, really good music in that. I know obviously now they have the updated version. You can just buy the Switch and you get the Bowser's Fury stuff with it as well. But I really enjoyed that game for the bit that I played, which was a lot. I played a lot of that game. I just never ended up beating it. But that was a fun game. I definitely enjoyed. Like I said, the music was really good in that, and just playing around with it, I loved the element of it being 4 players. It felt like they updated, and I think a lot of people felt this way. It was like a new version of Super Mario Brothers 2, which obviously was not originally a Super Mario Brothers game, but that was like the epitome of, decades of them being like, all right, well, Shy Guys technically come from this game, which is, it's called Doki Doki Panic for anyone that doesn't have that information in their mind. But it's like, all right, well, we'll take Shy Guy from this. Birdo is now just a part of Nintendo and all that stuff. It's like, we'll take all these bits and pieces and bring them into the Nintendo fold. And I felt like when that game came out on the Wii U, that was like the epitome of them being like, all right, this is what it would be like if we actually did a new version of Super Mario Brothers 2. And I thought it was great because it was like the characters have their own mechanics, and I was like, this is really cool. And of course, the cat suit was definitely a great addition. Like, I thought it was pretty fun. So I had a great time with that game. Like I said, didn't beat it, but I did have a great time with that game. I thought it was a really fun one. Nintendo Land, like I said, lots of different mini games. I did like the ninja one, throwing the shuriken. Obviously extreme bias on that one, but I like me some ninja stuff, so that was pretty cool. And there are other mini games that I can't really remember. I know there was I think they had one that was kind of a shooting mini game that was like Legend of Zelda, and I think it was almost like an updated version of when they made an entire game based off of that, where it was like, hey, we made like a Wii crossbow thing or whatever, and you can play the Legend of Zelda game on it. I think it was like that, and then they made like a full mini game out of it when they did Nintendo Land. It was like, all right, well, we already made that whole game. Let's just do that and just put Mii's in it instead of Legend of Zelda characters. I'm pretty sure that's how that one went, and I remember enjoying that one a lot too. That was actually pretty fun. But all in all, it was fun. It was definitely an entertaining thing. And then, of course, you gotta have other video games. And one of the video games I would like to talk about is a special game that you can still buy on Steam, but it's totally different now. And that's Zombie U. The U is for Ubisoft. Or the Wii U, it is what it is. But I'm gonna say the U is for Ubisoft because Ubisoft made that game. And that's a really good game. Extremely underrated. I have no idea how it plays now on PC if you get it without the gamepad and stuff, but the mechanic of using the actual gamepad for that game was your inventory is in your backpack. So you're in this world, it's a zombie game, of course, it's called Zombie U. You're in this world, you're dealing with zombies, everything. They have permadeath in the game, where if you have a character and they die, then you end up swapping to a new person, and then you can go out into the world. You can even find your old zombified corpse, and if you can beat that zombie, you can get all your weapons and stuff back. It was very extreme. It was actually a really fun game to play because it intensified that survival instinct. Most games is like, man, I'm gonna die. It's just like any permadeath run. It gets more intense when you know the stakes are higher, and it was actually pretty fun. Also, it was set in London. I've never been, so I really enjoyed that game, even though it was obviously an apocalyptic version of London. Didn't get to see do a ton of sightseeing, but it was really fun. It was like, it's always fun for me personally to have a game set somewhere and it's like authentic to that place, and as authentic as I'm aware of at least. But it's like, man, it actually feels cool. Like the structure and everything of just the way the world is built is different because it's based on a totally different country. And so I enjoyed that because there's not enough things that are just like randomly set in London. You get a bunch of games with people with accents that are from London, and then tons of fantasy games. I'm sure you can get a bunch of those accents, but you won't get the buildings, you won't get the structure. It'll all be fantasy, and then a bunch of British people. It's like, okay, but this was like modern day at the time, the year of our Lord, I don't even know, what, 2016, 17, something like that. And I enjoyed the location of it and just the way that everything looked. I was like, oh, this is kind of cool because it's a zombie apocalypse set in London. It's just not something that you see. So I really enjoyed that game, and it had the intensity of, the permadeath mechanic of like, hey, if you lose this character, you're gonna start over fresh. And the game wasn't exactly easy. The zombies, it was one of those games where it was like, do not run in on zombies. You get one or two at a time, and even that's like a little tough. You get a nice cricket bat, like that's how British that game is. Like, here you go, a cricket bat. That's the start of your weaponry, and you build up from there. And you better keep surviving, otherwise you're gonna lose your stuff. And if you die twice, like if you die and then you try to go back and get your stuff from the former you, and then you die again before you get all those items, you lose everything. Like, so if you die twice before getting your backpack, you lost everything. And the game's hard enough. The game starts off a little difficult with, like, they throw you in and it's like, I feel like you don't get, obviously you get enough to survive, you gotta be really careful. But it's like, man, you really don't get enough to just run and gun. It's not that type of game, which is what makes it so exciting and kind of scary. So I really enjoyed going through that. I even have a playthrough of it if you wanna check out that really old video. So take that as you will, you know, that means the quality is gonna be a little bit different. It was in the olden times, but I definitely played through that whole game and I had a really good time with it. And I think I only died once, maybe twice, the entire way through. I only died like once or twice, and I had a good time with that game. It was definitely fun. I think it's a bit underrated, and I never even explained the mechanic of the actual gamepad. I started on that and then went off on a whole tangent for the game. With the gamepad, just to get back to it, with your inventory being on the gamepad, the character would actually look into the backpack, which would leave you defenseless. So it doesn't pause the game, you know, for anyone who's an Elden Ring player. You can't pause the game unless you do some secret stuff. But when you look into your inventory, you have to look at the gamepad. So you're looking down and like rummaging through your stuff, like, all right, I want to reload this or mix these two things together. But you have to make sure you look up at the TV because the zombie could just be walking up on you. It just depends where you're at. You just have to like look up yourself. And it's such a cool mechanic where it's like, I'm actually looking down at the gamepad, picking out my items, but it's like, make sure you look up because you can get hit by a zombie. If there are zombies there and they're quiet, they do some good stuff in that game where it's like, you know, they'll do it where it's like it's sound based. So there'll be spots where there's music playing where the zombies are all distracted because it's so loud that there's music playing. There's like in one area where it's just like, it was a house party and a bunch of people died. So it was like a DJ booth and everything, and like the music is just playing. It's super loud. So the zombies can't hear you nearly as well, which is great because they filled the whole effing room with zombies. Like it's a bunch of zombies. So when you hit them, they don't, you know, like you can shoot one and it won't have the same reaction where every single zombie is like, oh, I heard something, let me check this out. So I like the way that they did that mechanic in the game, but they can be quiet. Sometimes you can hear them shuffling. Sometimes they're a little quiet. And if you're on that backpack and they're just slowly walking up on you, you will get attacked and it'll freak you out too. Cause I think it did happen to me like at least one time, or it was close to it where, you know, I'm looking down and I look up and I'm like, holy crap, a zombie like just came out of a room like 15 feet away from me. It's like, oh, time to get up and, you know, get this cricket bat out and start playing. So I definitely like that game, and it had just a weird, crazy story as zombie games tend to do when they put a real story in it. But I thought it was fascinating. I thought it was definitely a fascinating game. Highly recommend checking it out. Like I said, I don't know how the mechanic works if you don't have the gamepad, and it's just called Zombie now on Steam. But it's not the biggest difference. It's like, I'm assuming it just pauses the game for real, or maybe it doesn't, and it just, you know, moves the screen over or something like that, and you still see the character kind of rummaging through their backpack, and then you have to make sure you're looking at everything happening. So I don't know, but you can still play that game and it still, you know, has the same level of fun if you enjoy the game. I thought it was really good, and I definitely appreciated just the weirdness of that game and the difficulty and the way they just set you up to just do all sorts of wild stuff. Like, hey, just go to the palace, you know, like just go to the palace. Like that, it's cool, no big deal. Fight the guards, all that stuff, just zombified everything. And then I remember they did the classic thing where you go to like one part of the city and you end up going to a school, and it was the classic thing where it was scary, and the permadeath thing made it real serious because they introduced like crazy zombies later on, where there's one that like almost teleports and it's super crazy, and I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna live. And it was freaking me out. Like it was a creepy enemy in general, because it's like a teleporting zombie that would pull, if I remember right, and I'm just doing this based off of memory from like almost 10 years ago now, but I believe it had like an electrical current to it, so it would almost like pull in electrical energy when it would teleport, so you could see where it was about to like almost form. And it was like, this is crazy and scary as well, because I'm like, I'm running out of ammo, this thing's like jumping all over that from place. I'm running out of like the few bullets I have. I made it out of that, but I remember thinking like, I cannot die here because this enemy is already so strong. There's no effing way I'm coming back with a cricket bat and I'm beating this teleporting zombie that's screaming in my face. Like, it was so scary because it was just like, a tough enemy is one thing, but permadeath is another thing, especially when it's like, hey, this character dies, but you can go get your stuff back. It was like, well, not if there's a super zombie there and you gave me a bat. Like, not even a handgun. It's like, and you could leave stuff at like your main hub. That was always the thing. There was like a main hub that you could go to. So you could leave stuff in the hub, and it was that sort of thing where it's like, whatever you leave behind can be left for the next person. So if you start to do like really good, it's like, okay, I can drop like a handgun, I can drop a couple of mines here, in case something goes wrong. I'll at least have a little something. But I remember, I think I had everything when I went during that mission. I had most of my stuff at least, and I was like, I cannot die. I can't die to this super zombie, because then I got to come back with nothing and fight a super zombie. Like, how am I going to end up and do this? So fortunately, I beat that, and it was a scary portion, but it was really fun, and that's, an added level of excitement. But I definitely enjoyed that game. So check out Zombie. At this point, it's, like I said, it's just Zombie. If you still have a Wii U, check out Zombie U. Why not give it a shot? Who knows how much it costs? It would be crazy if somebody was trying to charge you a bunch for it. Don't do that. Just buy it cheap. Please buy it cheap. But it's a good game nonetheless. The next memory I want to talk about, the next game, is something that's very close to me, important, and a miracle amongst gaming. And that's Bayonetta 2. Bayonetta 2 even existing is one of the weirdest things ever. I don't know why Nintendo did it, but I'm super happy they did, because for those of you that might not know this, the reason that Bayonetta 2 and 3 are Switch, Nintendo exclusives, we'll say, is because Nintendo is like a co-owner in the franchise now. Like, they literally are the only reason it kept going beyond the first game. Like, they saved it because it didn't, Sega wasn't gonna do it themselves anymore. And Nintendo picked it up, and it was like, hey, we'll do it, and we'll make it exclusive to the Wii U. And that game is beautiful. I love Bayonetta 2. It's like, personally, it's my favorite one. I know a lot of people don't like some of the combat. They feel like it's too easy. I think for me, just because the game, after playing through the first game, I think I played that game like 13 effing times all the way through. By the time you get to the second one, for me personally, I'm like, I didn't even notice. Like, it's just easy in general because I know how to play Bayonetta so much. So I didn't even notice that it was super easy. But I've seen footage where it's like, oh, some of the mechanics make it a lot easier. But that's also one of those things where, some people will do the easy thing and some people won't. I still won't, because I won't get bored. Like, there's that whole thing of like, if you give someone an easy mechanic, even if they find it super boring, they'll still do that just because it's easy. I'm not that person. I will actually like mix things up, because I'm like, I'd rather have fun and be challenged than do the easy thing and just beat it. But there are a lot of people that are like, well, if I can do it the easy, boring way, I'll do it that way. So fortunately, that's not me. But I also never noticed when I was playing Bayonetta 2, I was just going through and whooping on people like I was in the first game. So for me, I didn't really notice it. I didn't notice that the combat was easier. I knew that the mechanic was there, like the climax mode. It just made it even cooler to me. I thought it was more entertaining. So 2 is definitely my favorite, not just from the combat, but also visually. I love the second game. The first game has like that weird sepia tone. The third game kind of looks like trash in spots because they made it like big, giant open world levels, and the Switch is not good enough for that. And that really upsets me. And I was always hoping that they would make a PS5 version of Bayonetta 3 like they did for whatever random reason. They did it for No More Heroes, where they were just like, here's a PS5 version. And I was like, okay, for some weird reason, they did it for No More Heroes, and that was exclusive from day one on Nintendo consoles. Well, technically, they did do the remake for No More Heroes 1, but for the most part, that was already a Nintendo thing. And it was like, well, they did the PS3 thing back in the day, and for whatever reason, they were like, we'll do a PS5 version of No More Heroes 3. I was hopeful. I was like, I will 100%, I would buy it twice. If they were like, hey, we're doing Bayonetta 3 on the PS5, I would have bought that junk so fast, just to have better quality and everything. I would have bought that 100%. Plus, Bayonetta has a photo mode, which I have a clip for that if you guys want to check that out. I have a clip where the first time I actually realized Bayonetta had a photo mode, because I just never paused the game. I had no reason to. And one day I just paused it. And I was like a few levels in, I was like, there's a photo mode? And I lost my mind. And then it took forever to realize that the photo mode starts off with motion blur. And so I was like, the whole time I was playing the game, I was like, well, the photo mode just looks ugly. Like, it's weird. Like, it doesn't make any sense why it looks so ugly. And then basically at the end of the game, I was going through some of the features and I turned motion blur down. And this is in photo mode. This isn't like in the game, like turn off motion blur. This was in photo mode. They had motion blur set like down the middle, and that was too high and it made it look ugly. You had to go to motion blur and turn it off every time you went into photo mode, and then it would make the thing look crisp. And I was like, this whole time, I could have just turned the motion blur down, which is ridiculous. There's no reason I should need to turn motion blur off, and then I can start taking pictures in the photo mode, because now it actually looks good. It was ridiculous. I blew my mind when I found that out, like basically at the end of the game. But that's, that's on Switch. That's on Switch. We're still on the Wii U. Bayonetta 2 was super fun. I had a great time playing that. Played through the first game, with like the special features, because if you bought Bayonetta 2, they're like, hey, we're just gonna throw in Bayonetta 1 because it wasn't on the original Wii. So if you're Nintendo only, you'll get 1 and 2 together. So you get the first game, and then you get alternate costumes with it. They threw in some Mario stuff. It was like, hey, you can have a Metroid costume, a Link costume. You can unlock, who is it? You can unlock Peach and Daisy costumes, and they even added the Chain Chomp as like a brand new weapon that you can buy in the game. Excuse me. And I thought that was super cool. So it was fun playing around with that. And if you wore the different costumes, they also had a Star Fox costume. You could dress like Fox. And in the Samus costume, because all the cutscenes are in game, you could like flip her visor up and down, even during cutscenes. And like the characters are talking, but they stand still because it's like little stills. And the thing just goes up and down, up and down. And it's like, that's super cool. And if you play as Link, it's even cooler because it turns all the rings and stuff, all the currency that you get, into different color rupees from The Legend of Zelda. And even opening up chests and stuff will give you the sound effect. And I was like, that's an amazing addition. So they added some really cool stuff to that. And then just playing through the second game was amazing because I love Bayonetta. So I was super hyped for Bayonetta 2. I absolutely love that game. And I had a great time with that. And I'm pretty sure I have a Let's Play of both those games because I replayed them. So I'm pretty sure that's on my channel as well. Super old stuff once again, but love me some Bayonetta. And then outside of that, Smash Brothers. There's not much to say. Smash Brothers was just God tier. I remember still being in college with my friends, and we saw them talk about Smash Brothers for the Wii U. And it was like, check it out, 6-player co-op. And we were like, whoa, that's super cool. And it was like, actually, 8-player co-op. We're like, oh my God. Crazy times, crazy times. Hours upon hours upon hours of Smash Brothers. And it was fantastic. And I even got 2 DLC characters. I stopped after that, and I haven't bought the game for the Switch, Smash Ultimate. But I did buy Ryu, and I bought Cloud. So I do have them even on my Wii U version. I have those 2 characters, but love that. Hours upon hours once again. Little Mac for the win. Absolutely love that guy. Splatoon. Splatoon, God tier. You already knew that, but Splatoon God tier. I actually miss Splatoon 1 because having the gamepad for Splatoon 1 is way better. Like, it's a million times. It's just being able to look straight down and see like the map and just be able to like push on your allies, and then you automatically launch to them without it having to be like a button. And then, you go into like the little shadow menu for 2 and 3, and then you can like launch to your allies. It was just so cool. Like it was just something about it. Like that specifically being on the gamepad is the best version. And it's crazy to say that because it'll never happen again. But Splatoon 1 has the best mechanic because of you can just look straight down. It's like boom. It's not like it's the most cumbersome thing ever in the new games where you have to open up the little menu and then choose what ally to go to. But it was just a different thing where you just look at your gamepad and you can see exactly what the map looks like and how much paint is on each side. You can find like all the little spots in the corners and stuff. Just look at your gamepad. That's where everybody's at. That's where they're fighting. This is what it looks like. I miss that. Like as soon as 2 came out, I was like, oh, this feels funny to me because I can't just look at the gamepad. But Splatoon was like, holy crap, I love me some Splatoon. Love Splatoon. Of course, they got 3 effing games, so people love it. It's great. Oh my goodness, that was an IP that like changed the game. I was super happy with that game. I love that game. Very good game. Other than that, I know I got some other stuff. I can tell you I bought Ninja Gaiden 3 Razor's Edge. That was during an era when I was buying like a bunch of games I didn't beat. So that was when I bought like the Metal Gear collection on PlayStation. I bought Ninja Gaiden Sigma 1 and 2 on PlayStation as well. But Razor's Edge came out on the Wii U first. For anyone that doesn't remember that came out like right after the game came out. So they already had that edition ready to roll on the Wii U as the updated version of the game. Before the game even actually launched, I think, they had that announced. So that was weird, and it was like I had to buy it on the Wii U. And then, of course, I never even played any of those games, and then they made the Master Collection, and now they have Ninja Gaiden 2 Black, which is technically based off of Sigma, all those other things. But it was like, I did not need to spend my money getting the old version of that, because I was like, I never played Ninja Gaiden, I'm going to do it. And I did put 8 hours into Ninja Gaiden Sigma, which is, once again, on my channel. You can watch me, like, not finish that game. But I did end up doing that at one point. But it's like, man, I definitely wasted that money. And so I have, Razor's Edge on the Wii U. I was going to buy Tekken Tag Tournament 2, but I just never ended up getting it. And I kind of wish I did, because I know they had some special stuff on that as well. But sadly, I never ended up getting that myself. But I think the Wii U as a whole for me personally, still did some good stuff. Obviously, super biased when it comes to Bayonetta. Like, I can't, there's nothing I can say where I'm like, hey, it gave me Bayonetta. I have to love it for that alone. It gave me Bayonetta 2. And it gave me more for Bayonetta 1, which I beat like 13 effing times. And they were still like, hey, we added brand new things. And it's like, well, I can appreciate that. That's actually kind of cool. So there's a lot there when it comes to my bias towards the Wii U, even though it's just like one game. But I did like Zombie U. That's a really good game. In general, a genuinely fun game. Nintendo Land is good, not great, but definitely gave me some fun times. And of course, Smash Brothers came out, Smash Brothers for the Wii U. It came out for the Wii U before it was Smash Brothers Ultimate. And you can't act like that wasn't an amazing game to own. Like, the Wii U gets a bad rap where everyone says like, oh, it's horrible and it's a failure. I like the Wii U, even though it was only like a couple of games. And a lot of games that people like, admittedly, were on the Wii U. It was just the fact that the Wii U never sold, so you probably wouldn't think about them as Wii U games. Like Breath of the Wild, it came out on the Wii U. They did that. Everyone wants to have Twilight Princess HD. Everybody wants that back. But right now, it's on the Wii U. That's where it's at. I got that amiibo. Never played that game. Never played the game. Got it on Black Friday. Still, I always wanted to play it. That was the plan. I always wanted to play that specific game. So I was like, oh, this looks great. Never got it on the Wii. Obviously didn't have a Wii. But it came out in HD. I was like, I'm going to get it. Bought it. Never played it. So I do have that game. But I have yet to play it. I've still never played that game. But Breath of the Wild, it came out on the Wii U. Mario Kart 8, of course, came out on the Wii U. Brought it to the Switch. They updated all that stuff. Like I said, with the Bowser's Fury stuff, Super Mario Worlds came out on the Wii U. Like, there's a bunch of great games that were on the Wii U. It just suffered because of marketing, and they also didn't really put a ton on there, if I'm being honest. Like, Super Mario Worlds, I feel like was the only real thing that they did outside of the 800 effing versions. I forgot about this, but when they were doing like their side-scrolling bonanza, they're like, hey, it's Super Mario Brothers Wii U, and they made like 800 versions of that on the Wii U alone. That was what they really put their money into. Like, they made 8 effing versions of that same side-scrolling Mario game. So that's what they really did when it came to Mario. It was like, here you go, Super Luigi U, and all that stuff. Like, they did that like 800 effing times on that console, it felt like. So, there's a lot of stuff that they did on there that was really great. And then it was like, all right, well, the console failed, so why don't we just bring all this crap over to the Switch? And that's exactly what they did. So everything you like, it was on the Wii U, but it just didn't sell. It just didn't sell like that. But I still like my Wii U. I still appreciate it. I enjoy the fun times I had with it. Obviously, for me, Bayonetta is always going to be God tier. Zombie U was actually a great zombie game that actually had a bit of stress to it with the permadeath and stuff like that. The minute speck of time I actually spent playing Razor's Edge just to test it out and be like, oh, this is actually kind of cool. Even though I totally wasted that money. And then, of course, the hours upon hours of time with friends, in Smash Brothers. It was just good times. Like, you just can't hate it. And then, of course, Bayonetta on Smash. Actually, I think I also bought Bayonetta no, she was in the regular roster. She wasn't DLC. Went crazy for that as well. So there's, technically, it's Smash Brothers, but it was when it was in the Wii U. So a lot of those early announcements was before it was like Smash Brothers Ultimate, even though like the final ones were definitely in the Switch era. The early ones were still there. Ryu for the first time, that was on the Wii U. Like, we have to count that those memories are tied to the Wii U. It was before the Switch came out. Those epic early Smash Brothers reveals are still Wii U reveals. Also, I still have a weird issue with the fact that they had like exclusive levels on the 3DS. I still think about that sometimes. I'm like, don't like that they did that. All the levels should be on all the consoles. Always thought that was funny. But good memories, good times with the game in general. But those early crazy reveals, that's all on Wii U. We have to give credit to that. It counts as the Wii U. Even though it's on the Switch now and it's Ultimate and it's all that, you still have to give it props. That's a win for the Wii U because that's where it started. It does have to count as a Wii U game. But I'll end it there because there's not much. Much like the original Wii, I only got like 5 effing things on the console the whole time. Still love those couple of things. Do not regret in any way, shape, or form personally having purchased the Wii U. I actually still enjoyed it. I had a good time with it. And it sucks that it failed in general, but of course, that failure, I think, led to the innovation that led to the Switch, which led to less innovation, I guess, with the Switch 2 now. But we'll see what happens. In the end, I don't think the Switch 2 will end up nearly as bad as the Wii U, though I think they'll figure some stuff out there. But shout out to the Wii U. I still like it. I know people just dump on it like it never meant anything. It meant something. This shit means something to me. So those are my thoughts on the Wii U, my memories with it, some good times. Would love to know your thoughts. And I mentioned this in the Wii video. I have yet to buy a nunchuck, so I've still never played a single one of my Wii games on my actual Wii U. So if I ever do that, I will be starting from scratch, which is super hilarious. Never, because I never owned a Wii, never had any nunchucks or anything. I just have the gamepad, and that's it. And that adapter for the GameCube controller, I have kept that to this day, and I think it still works on the Switch as well. So, good times with that. But those are my memories when it comes to the Wii U. It's not loved, but I love it. We'd love to know your thoughts on it, so please put your comments down in the comment section below. And of course, thanks for watching.